Hey guys, how are you doing? So, did Canada betray the US today? Because Canada made a huge deal with China, and as you know, China and the US are not really friends. But surprisingly, in the last few years, Canada and China were not friends either. They had their own problems. Because they started beefing in like 2024 when Canada saw that China was making a lot of good electric vehicles. And as you know, China makes a lot of EVs and they make them cheap because apparently the Chinese government helps the companies make the EVs. So Canada saw that and they were like, okay, that's a lot of cars and that's cheap. That's gonna affect our cars and our economy. So Canada decided to put 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Like, that's literally double. Who would buy that? Like, imagine, for example, if a car is worth 30,000, with those tariffs it will be 60,000. So because of that, obviously no one bought Chinese EVs and China got mad at this. So China decided to hit back and they put 85% tariffs on canola seeds. And why? Because China is the second biggest importer of canola seeds after the US. So that affected Canadian farmers. So now Canada and China weren't really friends because of this issue. But Canada didn't really care because they sold most of their stuff to the US. So it didn't affect them. But then Trump happened. But as you know, Trump is very unpredictable. So Canada was like, okay, I don't know if I should be making deals with the US right now or not, because the US was putting tariffs on Canada. So Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, was like, okay, I gotta be friends with China again. And this week, he flew to China, and it was the first time a Canadian Prime Minister visited China since like 2017. So he met Xi Jinping, and apparently the deal went well, and that's the deal. So apparently now, Canada will allow up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles per year. And the tariffs, which were 100%, will now go down to 6.1%. And at the same time, China will drop its canola seed tariffs from 85% to 15%. So it was a win-win situation to everyone. But some people in Canada were upset, like Ontario's Premier Doug Ford, who said that it would hurt auto jobs, and Canada's Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who said that China was a security risk, so that's why it's a bad deal. But at the same time, farmers were super happy. People were happy. They were like, okay, we can buy cheap Chinese cars now. And also, 49,000 cars every year is not a lot, because Canada buys 1.8 million cars every year, okay? So 49,000 isn't even that much. Like, the whole market isn't going to be flooded with Chinese cars. But what was really surprising today is that Trump himself was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, he wasn't upset. Like, honestly, let's watch the video.
How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, it's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
So as you saw, it was very mature of him. He wasn't upset. But mark my words, like, it's going to happen this week. It's going to happen the next week. But he's going to lash out at Canada for making this deal. We're going to see it. I'm just expecting it. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Okay, talked about Canada's story. Now my story, because my former president went to prison for 5 years. Yeah, this one is a crazy story because South Korea's former president Yoon Suk-yeol is going to prison for 5 years for what he did. But what did he do? So back in December of 2024, he came out on television and said that he's declaring martial law. And martial law means that the military would replace the government. So people were like, what is going on? And this only happens if the country is under threat. And Yoon Suk-yeol said that, yeah, the country is under threat, but there wasn't really a threat. But people were still super upset and they were protesting. And literally the next day, the parliament voted to remove that whole martial law thing. And then 10 days later, the parliament voted to impeach Yoon Suk-yeol and he got impeached. Like, that was all super quick. And a month later, he was arrested, and finally today, he was charged for those crimes. 1, obstructing justice. 2, blocking investigators. 3, abusing presidential power. And 4, falsifying official documents. Bro, that's a lot of stuff, right? But he only got 5 years in prison. Like, okay, to be honest, that's a lot of crimes for only 5 years. But yeah, he's going to prison for 5 years, and apparently he also wants to appeal because he says that this is unfair. Like, bro, you have all of those crimes against you. But anyway, crazy. A former president. He was literally the president, like, what, a year and a half ago, and now he's going to prison for 5 years. Now my turn, because the US has a price for me. They put a price on my country. Greenland, to be honest, it's a good price. Really, how much would I buy you for? Oh, but I'm not for sale. But that's what I said. Yeah, but we want to buy you. Bro, Bro, talk about this mess. So you guys know that the US wants to buy Greenland, right? But apparently Trump asked Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, to create a plan to buy Greenland, and the price for Greenland is between 500 to 700 billion. Like seriously, a whole country for 700 billion, and the problem is Greenland doesn't want to sell. They said that they're not for sale. Denmark said that we're not going to sell Greenland. Even the people in the US, they made a poll, and apparently 71% of people in the US said that they don't want Greenland. But also there is another deal called the Compact of Free Association, which means that Greenland would stay as its own country, sure, but Denmark won't own it, and the US will technically give money and protection to Greenland. But Denmark has a problem because also, as you know, Denmark owns Greenland, so again, no one wants this deal. And the real problem here is NATO, because as you know, Denmark and the US are both in NATO, and Denmark said that if the US attacked Greenland, then NATO is done. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, there is an agreement between countries saying that if one country attacked any country in NATO, we will attack that country together. But what would happen if the US attacked Greenland or attacked Denmark? Then what? All the NATO countries will attack the US? Is that possible? Will that happen? But even European countries like Netherlands and France sent their troops to Greenland. Like, they want to protect it from the US. So they're fighting from within, which is crazy. And for the start of 2026, having NATO countries fighting each other, yeah, that was not on my bingo list at all, by the way. Okay, now talk about ICE arresting people after eating at the restaurant. Yeah, guys, this is also wild because apparently ICE agents went for dinner at a restaurant called El Tapatio in Wilmer, Minnesota. And they ate, everything was fine. And after eating, they just left for a few hours. But then when the restaurant closed, those same ICE agents came and arrested the workers at that restaurant. Like, talk about biting the hand that fed you. Like, bro, you just ate at the restaurant and then you come back and arrest the same people who fed you? Like, I'm speechless. I don't know what to expect. Like, if the ICE agents didn't like the food, they could have put a review on Google or something. That would have been fine. But detaining the people after you ate at the restaurant, like, I don't know what kind of experience they had in there, but wow, that's that's wild. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. And again, if there are any stories that I missed today, please let me know in the comments. I'll put them in mind. I'll talk about them tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow.